Sandy,
Yeah.
can I lick the bowl, Sandy?
A bit more work to
Sandy.
do.
Add the baking soda, 1 teaspoon at a time, sprinkling it and beating until the mixture is smooth and the consistency of light cream.
And you can do this, right, and beating.
Sandy, keep that other show where it belongs.
How much baking soda? The whole lot?
All of it. That's it.
Okay,
That's
Thankfully,
cheeky.
there's skills I had as a young man that are becoming useful. I work in a baker's.
listen,
Right.
now,
Have I got to put all of it in?
One at a time. Get it in there. Oh, darling, it'll take forever. Let me help you.
1 teaspoon at a time.
Where's the
Don't rush.
teaspoon?
It's there. It's there.
Don't shout it.
Don't leak. Oh,
There we go.
when's the last and the sugar got in?
Okay.
Assisted by Sandy.
Okay. All right.
this is pretty good.
Yeah. Now
I
what?
used
All
to
right.
charge a fiver for that.
Now,
Let's have the right money.
The queue around the block. Yeah, okay, so done that.
pour the mixture into the beaker.
Oh, beacon.
Okay. Put it in there. It's going to be.
Go in the beaker. Go in the beaker. No, I want to be back in their individual bowl.
Okay,
Do you ever cook with your children?
They like the process, but they won't eat anything.
okay, add the lemon juice all at once and blend into the mixture.
Blend, how do you, oh no, I spilled some in the egg cup. That was great.
That was fun,
That was
wasn't
really
it?
good.
was
What?
fun.
Oh, real food.
No,
This
darling.
is bullshit.
Anybody know why that happened?
Something to do with acid.
I think that because Prue doesn't know how to cook.
So the lemon juice is acid and it mixes with baking powder, which is a carbonate, and that's what happens.
How do you make a lemon
Yeah,
cake?
is it by
Baking soda.
Okay.
So it forms CO2 and it foams up in that way.
Especially if you put 5 teaspoons in it, which
Yeah.
is about 4.5 more than you'd normally use.
Yeah, we were rather determined that it should work.
I think it did.
Obviously, we invented Danish lemon quaffles because it begins with a Q. Can I recommend to you a Penn and Teller book called How to Play with Your Food, and the recipe's in there. It's called Swedish Lemon Angels. But what a great thing to make little kids, and wasn't pretty fantastic getting out the instructions there. Baking on television. Let me catch on. Now for a question on quips. Phil, how many jokes would you exchange for this person?
Well, it's my child, so I've got to be honest, it's a buyer's market.
So this is your daughter Emily.
Yeah.
And Emily is now one of the elves here. She works for us on QI. But we learnt this wonderful thing in between the 5th and the 2nd century BC in Athens. Comedians were known as parasitos. Literally means
We still are.
literally means parasites.
Hang on, hang on.
So spongers, and they made a living by turning up at dinner parties uninvited, and they would exchange jokes for food. And they had their own joke books and kept them updated.
That's why we're such brilliant comics. Look at the size of it.
One or two dinners.
Yeah.
So there was a parasitos called Soturio, and he kept a whole chest full of joke books at home, and he offered up 600 of his quips, his jokes, as a dowry for his daughter. So we thought, well, let's extend this, and let's have your daughter asked to see how many jokes she would exchange. So if you can make the audience laugh, I will release her.
Okay. A salesman knocks on
open the door of the house. And the door opens and there's a 5-year-old child standing there with a cigar and a balloon of brandy. And the sergeant looks at the door and goes, "Hello, little boy." And I go, he goes, "Oh, I'm the cabin." And he goes, "Does it look like they are?"
So they used to make some stand-up comedy nights, but a lot of the time only other comedians would attend. There was a group of...
What's the one on the right doing to the one on the right? I believe that's the beginning of improv. One on the left's not keen on it. The second left's going, "Look at him, look at him! Look at him or I will torch you!"
Anyway, there used to be a thing called the Group of 60, and they were Athenian wits who got together and exchanged jokes. And so one of the ways you would tell a joke in Athens, you would say, "the 60 said," and so on. But the very first joke book that Europe ever had was published by, any other guess? We are talking mid-1400s?
Ladybird.
Well, the Vatican published it. It was utterly obscene. They had a sort of joke club called the Bugiali. It was literally a fib factory. There was a papal secretary called Poggio Bracciolini, and he kept a record of all these jokes, and he published it. 273 puns and jokes. Mostly the usual stuff: farts, erections, obesity.
Rubbish at reading, isn't he? Look at him.
Yeah.
Excuse me, is that Athena? The frame of my picture has fallen on my head.
And he's famous for having beautiful handwriting. He is the creator of the very first Roman font, and we think he's the man behind Times New Roman that we use today.
Today, I will come up with wingbacks.
Now, what was the most exciting diet in history?
I reckon in the siege of Paris. Oh, they ate the zoo animals.
They did, darling. 1870, there were recipes for elephant.
There were recipes for his trunk and his, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
Cock.
I believe some roosters were eaten as well.
And
So that is an interesting one, but it's possibly not the most exciting diet. At the end of the 19th and indeed the beginning of the 20th century, there were professional fasters, they were called hunger artists, and these were people who would, in public, see who could fast for the longest.
I'd love to do that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, if we all stopped eating now, if we didn't have any food, the five of us, would me and Joe last longer because we're fat?
How dare you?
I point out I'm much heavier than Joe. I slaughter her in a fasting competition.
It's not a competition, but these reserves?
Yes, of course.
You would last longer. Yeah.
I don't know that's necessarily true. I think it depends on your metabolism and
Yeah.
your ability to survive.
Yeah.
So, how long do you think you would last? Because if you could last for a very long time, you could make thousands and thousands of pounds.
A year.
There was a guy called Giovanni Succi. He was paid more than £250,000 back in 1890. He lasted 40 days on stage in London.
And afterwards, he had missed eating so much, he went on to found Pringles.
What we now reckon is, doesn't matter about your initial body weight, you probably last 8 to 12 weeks.
Okay.
All of us would be about the same. But this fad, it started in 1880. There was a doctor called Henry Tanner, and he bet that he could live on water for 40 days, and he made an absolute fortune from people just coming to stare at him. There was a woman called Molly Flancher. She was also known as the Brooklyn Enigma, and she claimed she had psychic abilities due to starvation, and she was challenged to do it for 40 days with round-the-clock observation by doctors, but she said, the doctors are bound to be male, I'm not going to do it. Because, modesty would prevent me from doing this. The truth is, on the whole, it was discovered people had been secretly eating. Anybody remember the last one in sort of in popular?
I was David Lane
David
in the
Lane.
box.